Hi friends, it's the last day of isolation for me, and it's as our hospitals and everywhere in the country, everywhere in the world, even the places where the COVID-19 pandemic was slowing down is rather coming up. The question people keep asking me is asking if you have been infected and you recovered, do you have immunity? That is, if I recovered from COVID-19, can I not get the infection? And the first study that it brought to some hope is the study that was done in March, whereby the scientists reinfected, the two monkeys that had recovered from the virus a month later, and they couldn't reinfect them. Now that was the good news, but those were for monkeys. What about does that translate to the humans? And we don't have a definitive evidence that once you have contracted this virus, you cannot contract it again. So the infection is a possible. I'm sure you have you have heard the reports of people who got infected like two times in 2 and 3 months or something. Reinfection can really happen. There is, however, reported that it seems to give some positive. That there is some positive benefits of convalescent plasma. That is basically giving blood products of someone who recovered from the virus, giving to someone who's ill, and that is seemed to show or suggest to show some temporary immunity. But generally, for the way the body protects us against the viral reinfections is basically in 3 ways. Number one, secreting antibodies. That is, I got it, and then the body works on it and they create antibodies, so that basically if I get infected next time, can neutralizing the infection. That's number one. Number two is memory B cells. Memory B cells, basically they recognize the virus and they create new antibodies. And in doing that, during exposure, basically doing that, they can kill the infection as well. And the third one, number 3, is the memory T cells. Those are, they trace down, the infected cells to be able to deal with them. And now we don't know. So the convalescent plasma works with the first one, circulating antibodies. And I'm not sure if that's even have been tried yet in the country, but that's something that is may be able to be helpful. But the challenge is we don't know. Someone like me who got infected with the COVID-19, we don't know how much antibodies, number one, I made. Number two, we don't know how long these antibodies are likely to work. We don't know if my memory beta cells will be able to be activated, to create new antibodies if I get really exposed. But to actually make even things worse, to add to the uncertainty, is that the SARS-CoV-2 virus, just like other RNA viruses like HIV or flu, they're dangerously unpredictable in a way that every time they replicate, they mutate. They make a multitude of variation or variants. And actually, as in March, as the pandemic was just going everywhere, they actually found that the genetic sequence copy of viral copies of this virus of COVID-19 around the world was about 15% different strains of it. I don't know how many there could be. So probably the strain that you got might not be the same that I got. And as much as we may be tiny variation, it can also be different how the body is going to handle it. So there's still more things that we need to learn, that we still understanding with this this virus. And but I'd like to stick to what we know so far. We know this virus is here. We know it's serious. We know it's lethal. It's killing people. And we also know, though, that there are certain things that we can do. Number one, we can try not to be infected. That's number one. If that's possible, that's to be the first thing to do. Number two, let's arm our body in a healthy way. We know that there's certain lifestyle that are predisposing us to getting more sicker. We know that there are some comorbidities that if we removed, we have better chances of fighting those things. By the way, we hope you have signed up for our program where we want to be dealing specifically with how to deal with severe COVID-19 risks and how you can mitigate that. So we know that basically that there is if you sleep better, eat healthy, and exercise, and practice the all the things that we know, social distancing, wash your hands, sanitize whatever you can, wear face mask. Those things some might see as a silly, but maybe you may be okay with that virus, but someone you're going to give to, it's going to be lethal. It's going to kill that person. So maybe wear the face mask, not necessarily for you, but someone you may meet. Not go in the places that you don't necessarily have to go. And but until then, until we can understand more about what's going on, there are many things unknown. It doesn't mean that we should be fearful. No, being fearful won't necessarily help us. We still have to keep our heads up and have that positive psychological well-being because we need it. And but let's just be responsible. So thank you so much. It has really been a pleasure being, having you as a support, though virtually it was, and hopefully we will continue, sharing information of what we continue to learn. And it was really been a pleasure, and may God bless you as you're doing everything you can to protect yourself and your family and others. Thank you.